Good coaches everywhere keep making the same mistakes. These mistakes directly sabotage how many new clients you get and how many clients you keep. Because of these 11 big mistakes, as time goes on, it gets more difficult to book calls, to generate leads. It's why people stop responding to your content. It's why marketing overall seems to be less effective. It's also why many coaches feel like they're on a treadmill, always having to create more and more content just to try and get leads, and they feel like they have to get louder and louder just to try and get people onto calls. I'm going to share with you what we do to attract and enroll ideal clients without doing anything that gobbles up time or doesn't align with who we are. My name is Pat Scrow. If you're a coach who's been around a few years, you've seen the kind of marketing advice that's been propped up and recycled. Based on the fact that you're watching this now, I'm going to assume you haven't, for whatever reason, reached a place in your business that you're satisfied with the volume of leads coming in, the quality of calls that you're taking, and the caliber of clients that you work with. And biggest of all, I'm going to assume that you're not satisfied with the amount of effort, time required to generate enough revenue to make it all worth it. Well, I have some good news. We're not going to just cover the 11 biggest marketing mistakes that coaches keep making, but then I'm going to share with you, for the first time ever, how we acquire ideal clients. Now, instead of breaking all this down as a top 10 type series, I'm going to do things a little bit differently. Just like in math class at school, when the teacher wanted to see your workings out, to see how you came up with those answers, I'm going to lay all this out logically, take our time, so you too can see how we come to these conclusions. I feel it's much easier to learn that way. Plus, as a bonus for you, I like to keep things actionable. So before we wrap, I'm going to give you a short list of the 4 steps to take control of this area in your business quickly. Let's get into it. I've personally had some great coaches over the years, starting back in the brick and mortar days when I first fell in love with marketing. After consulting and running fractional CMO for a few years, I found myself helping other coaches with their own marketing. Since then, I've helped many coaches get clients. I've seen what works in the short term. I've seen what works in the long term, and I've seen what works against you. See, the majority of coaches right now are making a hatchet job of their marketing. Whether you're aiming for a coaching business doing 20K a month or 200K a month, the same no-nos apply, and the same best practices also apply. We're not talking about slow incremental growth either. It only takes a few new clients per month to have a great business. And then pretty quickly you could be in a situation where you're enrolling 4 to 8 clients per month. That's real revenue. And despite what many recommend, you don't need a team to do this either. So I'm going to do my best to break apart some bad ideas and show you how simple it can be to build a thriving and impactful coaching business, one that will serve you for a long time. What got all this started, why I'm sharing this. New clients would start with me and we'd have to go through this process, this stage of unlearning stuff. See, marketing experts always bang on about the big 3. First you attract, then you nurture, then you convert. And on the surface, this kind of makes sense. But this generic advice for coaches, this is terrible advice. Let's forget the fact that it's boring and time consuming. Attract, nurture, convert, results take too long. And while you're putting content out, nurturing, sending emails, and doing lives, basically you end up waiting months for calls to get booked. And all the best prospects, they've all moved on to someone else who can help them now. Number 2, the success rate is too low. And this is where the problems start, because it's here, right here, that the coach stops, takes a look around and realizes there are less talented coaches doing better than them. And the coach gets super frustrated and resorts to what I call marketing nonsense. And that manifests like this: either too much follow-up, so they end up living in Messenger and generating all their leads from basically badgering people, or they end up engaging in an overabundance of attention seeking on social media. I'm sure we've all seen this in action. Look, it's not only embarrassing, but as we'll soon see, it's damaging. But guess what? It doesn't have to be that way, because coaches, we're lucky. You see, we sell a unique service to the marketplace, and it's one that makes the attract, nurture, convert not only unnecessary, but actually not ideal. And this is where it gets exciting, because if I do my job properly, what I'm about to share with you has the potential to drastically improve everything about the way that you market your coaching business. Okay, it all starts with the prospect. As a coach, your ideal prospect is a person who wants help, but they're just not sure who to get the help from. Think about what they want. They want change. They're ready to learn, and they're prepared to invest in themselves. Do you think that they also want to get into someone's funnel and have a drawn-out nurture sequence? To receive a series of emails over weeks or months? To be put inside someone's Facebook group and told to watch a welcome video and then consume a bunch of videos? Or to do a free mini course in order to get a smaller, weaker version of the results that they actually want? Now, this one might hurt a few feelings, but here goes. Do you think that they want you as their coach, who they'll be looking for mentorship from? Do you think they want you in their DMs, messaging them, hassling them to book a call with you? Absolutely not. Are you kidding me? This kind of nonsense repels people, especially your ideal prospects. Ideal prospects are ready to move now. They want to start solving their challenge within days, not months. So then if ideal prospects are effectively ready to move now, to buy now, how does it make sense to force prospects through some elaborate nurturing phase? It doesn't. Well done. You're not crazy. You're right. It doesn't. But the reason coaches are still doing this stuff is due to generic marketing advice passed on broadly across industries. And eager, motivated coaches ready to get their business up and running take that advice because it sounds legit enough and they run with it. Let's not do this. Let's skip the generic stuff. Let's specify. Let's cut the bullshit and get to the heart of why people buy our coaching packages. Then let's simplify it. Turn it into a process that can be applied over and over like clockwork. But first, let's take a look at the opportunity in front of us. By looking at how wasteful most marketing is, we can learn how much there is to be gained and the best way to go about it. First up, I said before that coaches are lucky in that they can skip the nurture stage. Here's why. There are 3 criteria to skip the nurture stage and go straight to a call. Number 1, be expensive and solve a big problem. So if you're a coach that actually helps people achieve something real and who charges what you're worth, then that's you. Check. Number 2, capacity. Next criteria is easy. The ideal prospect needs to be able to afford what you're selling. So the good news here is that you control your marketing and you control what kind of person you attract. So let's just give that one a check as well. Third, urgency. Now, the final criteria is urgency. This is deceptively tricky. So I'm going to have to get a little bit nerdy here and explain some things because the data doesn't lie. This might just change the way you look at all your marketing from this moment on. This is exciting. Are you ready? Most prospects want to be nurtured slowly. Most ideal prospects want to move fast. See, these are 2 completely different paths. And the simple truth of business is that most prospects will never buy from you. And that's cool. Absolutely okay. The takeaway is that it's simply not smart to build out our marketing around people who are never going to buy from us. So instead, let's design our marketing to empower our ideal prospects. Genius idea. Fantastic. Market to our ideal prospects. And what do ideal prospects want? Ideal prospects want to move fast. That's part of the reason why they're ideal. A short side note about average prospects. Now, most average prospects either never buy, or if they do, they like to be nurtured over months. They book calls and then they don't show up. They finally get on a call maybe, and they and they and they might need a 3rd call to decide if they want to enroll. And then usually they'll enroll with a minimum amount and then they'll start working and you'll start working with them, and then they won't do the work you set for them. They won't do it properly. Maybe they'll just fall off the scene, and then sometimes they'll decide to cancel. This is why we don't even want to attract average prospects. They just clog everything up. Okay, enough about average prospects. Here's some nerd stuff. We analyzed 6 months worth of our clients and their clients. And here are the averages. 72% of new clients took less than 2 weeks to enroll, credit card down. In fact, some as fast as 4 days. Just think about that. That's from being a stranger, becoming a lead, deciding to book a call, matching up times in calendars, getting on the phone, then pulling the trigger, taking out the credit card and enrolling. Stranger to client on a high-ticket coaching offer in less than 2 weeks and as quick as 4 days. I'd say that's pretty damn fast. Imagine if 72% of your next clients were like that. Okay, and the other 28%? Huge difference with these people. These people average around 9 weeks, but in some cases up to almost 2 years. So these people really needed nurturing. So what all this means is that if nurturing is your primary strategy, you're missing out on the lion's share because these ideal prospects already moved on and found some other coach to help them. Sobering thought, right? That's a lot of work for only 28% of the catch. And here's the real kicker, the real gut punch. That 28%, these are just a fraction of the size of the audience that's being nurtured. So all these leads and all that work for such a small return. Now, of course, as the nurturing audience grows, then these numbers will grow as well. But this takes years. And in my experience, coaches don't have time to wait for that. As coaches, we deal with humans who want change to happen fast. And these people are prepared to invest their time and their money to get results fast. So, urgency, you bet, that's check number 3. First up, enrolling 1 to 4 clients every month is alarmingly simple. Now, most coaches are okay once they get the prospect on the phone and they get a chance to actually talk to a human being. To them, it's just getting the people on the calls where things get stuck, getting the calls booked. So now that we are thinking from the perspective of our ideal prospect, let's figure out what not to do. What makes an ideal prospect not book a call? Yes, those expensive marketing programs lied to us. Look, just because coaches, people like you and me, genuinely want to help others, that doesn't mean that we're immune to persuasion by cheeky marketers. They're duped into believing and doing some weird shit. Most of the marketing activities coaches are doing are not good. On one hand, you have people doing these low-level repetitive activities, reducing years of knowledge, insight, experience down to a mere numbers game. On the other hand, we have large sums of money being wasted on manipulative ads and that don't work, and on lead gen that doesn't deliver as promised. Look, what we offer the world should be seen as what it is. That's a life-changing opportunity for our clients. But somehow marketing for coaches has become something cheap, something that requires people to take a chance on us after us trying to sell them something on the phone. This is all our fault. And if you're the kind to take responsibility, excellent, do it now. If you're not, you might as well turn this off because you're not going to like what's next. This is the sad reality of common coach marketing advice. It begins with friend requesting en masse. You got to post things, then you got to engage with people. Then you move to DMs and you start messaging people, all to convince them to book calls with you. And then there's the advanced version of the same model, which is start a Facebook group and then do exactly as above. It's like this for a number of reasons, marketing gurus, but just know this. These practices actively repel ideal prospects, meaning the client getting process gets exponentially more difficult as time goes on. Which brings us to perhaps my favorite of the big mistakes, authority kryptonite. And I'm just going to come out and say it, because if you're doing this stuff that I call authority kryptonite, you will never have a business full of ideal clients. These three are the biggest offenders. Friending people en masse. This weakens your authority, and it sets up a fractured foundation for any chance of a working relationship. Second, DMs, grinding away in Messenger. This critically damages your reputation. It simultaneously repels your most ideal clients, and it engages the time wasters. Third is trying to convince people anywhere to get on a call with you. This naturally causes pushback and firmly puts the prospect on defense. Authority kryptonite positions you in the marketplace with freebie seekers and bad fit prospects. You'll have a coaching business that you feel trapped in. You'll be dealing with all kinds of challenges that make you sometimes question if it's all even really worth it. I know, because I flirted with some of these mistakes too. But the key is to realize that none of these authority kryptonite behaviors ever address the real issue that's going on here. See, we need something better. We don't want to be doing the chasing. We want to empower them to pursue you. All right, that's why they don't want to book calls. Why do ideal prospects book calls? Good question. Now, remember our ideal prospect? Let's do it again. Let's look at why they do book calls. My ideal prospect wants to learn, is excited for change, and is ready to invest in themselves. So ask yourself, what are these individuals, these people, what are they doing right now? I'll bet you a box of delicious craft beer that these people are actively looking for answers, consuming content to scratch their itch, fiercely taking notes, bookmarking, mentally preparing to invest in the right solution as soon as they see it, fiercely ignoring people trying to sell them stuff in their direct messages. And fourth, connecting with the individuals who are providing these aha moments, eager to explore possibilities with them. If you understand this, then the way you look at content will be forever changed. The motorbike principle. Now, I debated whether I should include this or not, but I've used this with many clients and it usually helps them. So I'll share it here. Do you ride a motorbike? One thing you learn pretty quickly when you're riding a motorbike is that where you look visually, you will go. It's that simple. See, our brains do this cool thing. It registers where our eyes are focused and then it takes over automatically. Our guidance system doesn't care whether we're focused on something good or something bad. It's exceptional at doing one job, and that is to get us where we're looking. Now, when you're sitting on an engine, the results can be deadly. It doesn't matter if you're focused on the road where you want to go or the tree that you want to avoid. Where you look, you will go. It's amazing how fast it all happens. Side note here, this same thing happens on a golf course. Next time you're out with friends, just casually point out the sand trap or the water hazard and mention to your friend who's about to tee off to just watch out for them and enjoy what happens next. The same principle applies here when building out your marketing. And I mean it like this. If you focus on the wrong objectives, you will take the wrong actions. Wrong focus gets you to wrong actions, which gets you to a cycle of wasted time and energy. Simply put, I want to get a client is the wrong focus, and it leaves you living hand to mouth. Not only does it encourage temporary, low leverage actions, but it makes the coach disappear into a sea of noisy mediocrity. Lots of other coaches all competing for attention, competing on price, competing for authority, all racing to the bottom. So what to do instead? Instead of, I want to get a client, change the focus. I want to change the focus to, I want to build a lever that gets clients whenever I decide to use it. This focus change forces an entirely different set of actions. Example, let's say you got 10 hours this week to do some marketing for your coaching business. Do you create some content, put it out to social media, spend some time bugging people in Messenger to try and get them to book calls, only to repeat the process next week? Or do you instead invest those 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours trying to build a lever that gets clients whenever you decide to use it? Take Josh, for example, a financial coach from Australia. Now, despite being brilliant at what he does and has a decent social presence, Josh rarely had book calls. And when he did, the prospects couldn't afford him. But when his focus changed, his actions changed. People started booking calls all by themselves. Pretty cool. Within 5 months, his roster was full. Pretty cool. His roster was so full, in fact, that we had to make a decision. Do we turn his marketing off? Do we keep his marketing going and then run like a wait list? These are great options to have. But it all happened because he decided to focus on building a lever rather than just trying to find a client, find the next client. I might do a separate video on his story. If I do, then I'll link it in the original article that inspired this video. The details are in the description. Oh, okay. Building marketing assets is something that I'm passionate about because it does the heavy lifting and it gives the business owner freedom. So that's what we do next. The way we empower our audience to step up and become ideal prospects is to give them something that they can use that they need to make good decisions. By confidently leading people and by allowing them to come to their own conclusions, we avoid all that authority kryptonite stuff, and therefore we avoid inadvertently putting our prospects on the defense. So instead, we allow them to get to a solution chasing state. And when you have prospects chasing solutions, you'd better give them some damn good content, some damn good marketing assets for them to engage with and binge on. These marketing assets that I'm talking about need to trigger something that allows an audience member to raise their hand and become a lead. Done well, and this asset will be something that satisfies a curiosity the prospect has based around their core desire while simultaneously giving them hope. I talk more about this in the next video I'm releasing. I'll link to it in the description. Second thing this marketing asset needs to do is explain. So when a prospect is binging content, be it articles or videos, they are in the very process of questioning things they've always known, considering what to keep and what to let go of, and actively building a new reality of possibilities based on what they are learning. So your marketing assets need to explain stuff about the problems they are facing and about the solution to their problems. Third thing, these marketing assets, they need to deal with questions before the prospect even has them. They'll begin to understand the way you work, what you do, how powerful your solution is. When you do this properly, the prospect will begin thinking about you and your solution at random times during the day, even in the middle of the night. When this happens, you will never again feel the need to chase a lead. When this happens, the prospect will book a call with you, all on their own. It becomes inevitable because they need to know if you can help them, if you are the solution that they've been looking for, if you are the coach that's going to run with them for the next season. Once you have these marketing assets in place, you'll see how they are the difference between a coach running around in circles, always doing so much, and one that is cool as a cucumber while their business continues to grow. There are two marketing assets critical to being able to bypass the nurture stage of client acquisition. First one, get yourself a unique lead mechanism. Stop using traditional lead magnets. Free downloads, free courses, mini courses, PDFs, templates, blueprints, pieces of training. None of these things will enable you to skip the nurture stage because by design, all they do is build email lists. Now, I'm going to go deep on unique lead mechanisms in another video that's coming up next. In fact, I'll link it at the end of this one so you can just watch it straight away. But all you need to know is that a well-built ULM is the bridge to bypass the nurture stage. And once you have one, or your marketing can become streamlined and coherent and logical. And you'll find yourself taking calls with a lot more ideal prospects, and you'll find yourself in a position to only enroll perfect clients. The second asset that you need is some epiphany triggering content. Picture your favorite outfit, the suit or the dress or something that you know you look good in that you bring out for special occasions. You know this outfit presents you at your best, and you know you have the best chance to make the right impression. Well, you want to have some carefully selected content that does this for your business. Not the temporary stuff that you throw on social media that disappears with the feed. I'm talking about content that is crafted to give an experience to your ideal prospects, that holds their hand and leads them through the lead process, empowering them to make good decisions. Without epiphany triggering content, you'll always be stuck pulling out weaker levers of your marketing to try and make up for lead flow. And you'll have to keep making tough decisions about whether or not to enroll clients who are not really ideal. I'm also making a full video on epiphany triggering content because it's so important. I'll link to it as well. There's 3 parts in this simplified client acquisition explainer series. I'm going to put them into a playlist. You just go there in the YouTube channel and you should be able to view them all, one after the other. Amazing. All right, now earlier in the video, I said I'd share with you a short list of 4 steps. So coach, whether you want to enroll 2 clients every month, or whether you want a simplified method to ethically and elegantly scale up your operation, these are the steps to build the kind of coaching business that you want, full of ideal clients. Change your focus from trying to get a client to building a marketing lever. This first one, this is the moment. This is where the old busy structure can start to dissolve and a simple, elegant one can begin to grow. This becomes a lens through which to view all your marketing activities. This gets you off the treadmill. The second thing you're going to do is stop pushing ideal prospects away with authority kryptonite. Never again will you be kicked out of a Facebook group. No more endless hours spent in Messenger. Say goodbye to hassling people and trying to get them to book calls. Those days can be in the rearview mirror. Third thing, start giving people epiphanies. This is the whole point of your content. I call this epiphany triggering content. It does the heavy lifting. Fourth, make it easy, logical, and friction-free for your ideal prospects to reach out for more. I call this a ULM. So there we have it. There's your 4 things. Change your focus. No more, I got to get a client. And instead, I want to build a machine, a lever that gets me clients. Stop pushing ideal prospects away with authority kryptonite. Start giving people epiphanies and make it easy for them to connect with you. When you stop with the authority kryptonite nonsense, you signal to yourself that you respect yourself enough to find real solutions. No more band-aids. You're not playing checkers anymore, you're playing chess. You signal to the marketplace that you have something of value and that you won't be pushed around or forced to do things you don't want to do out of a need to make payroll. When you set up a coaching business this way, you decimate the amount of time spent marketing. You no longer feel like you're always wanting more attention, more leads, more calls. The reason people feel like that is because they don't have control. Good marketing assets give you that control. Then you start noticing that more of your clients are getting fantastic results. Client success soars because you've got more ideal clients on the books. Bad fits quickly become a thing of the past. And as you learn to handle more, you continue to receive more. Before you realize it, your client roster will fill up. At this moment, you realize you have a new set of challenges, and therefore an exciting set of decisions to make. Do you expand your operation, or do you simply keep things at this pace? Either of which is completely up to you. Your business, your clients, you run at whatever speed you choose. But the difference with having this kind of coaching business is that you are no longer chasing attention, no longer chasing leads, no longer trying to book calls, no longer dealing with bad fit clients who should have never been enrolled. Because you escaped the treadmill and you never have to go back. I've talked about unique lead mechanisms today. This next video goes into glorious detail about what it is, how it works, and how to get one for yourself. See you in the next video.